Who are you when nobody needs you? Because I know you've gotten really good at showing up and holding it all together no matter what. But what happens when high functioning stops being something that you need to do sometimes and it becomes the only thing you do all the time? Because high functioning was never meant to be your mode forever. And it's covering up some really important parts of you. And you deserve to be soft without feeling like it's a weakness. So let's really get into how you can finally allow yourself to be soft without feeling like it's a liability, because it's really one of the most lovely parts of you. So let's really get into it. Now, friend, to know me is to know once upon a time, I was a single mom of two. And during my single mom season, I was definitely a little Miss Independent. So, high functioning definitely just became who I was. I knew that I had to be the one to take care of my kids day in and day out. And that meant taking care of them, taking care of the house, dinner, cooking, all of these things, like all of it, providing everything. Everything depended on me. And I was bound and determined to rise to every occasion. And proudly, I can say that I did that. I was at it to the best of my ability because I wanted to give them as much as I possibly could. I did my absolute best. And within that time of being a single mom, it wasn't something that I expected to have to do for as long as I did. And when you are raising kids and the years just keep passing and you're doing it on your own, you get real creative about how to continue to do things at a high level on your own. And looking back at that season, I realized that a part of the really big sacrifice that I made was my soft side, because I had to be strong. I had to be on point 24/7. So there was really no time or space that I created, mind you. Okay. I didn't create the time or the space to allow myself to just be tired, to be fed up, to feel the unfairness of it all, to feel just the sheer weight of everything that I was carrying. I didn't have time for all that. And looking back, I really wish I had made more time for that, because I had truly become disconnected from that part of myself where my soft side could reside. It was just a part of me that I not only did I not share it with anyone, but I wasn't even sharing it with myself. And so, in doing that, not only did I become disconnected from that soft side of myself, but it also disconnected me from what that side of myself really needed. And we don't always realize just how much it cost for us to be constantly high functioning. And listen, don't get me wrong, because I am the high performance queen. You want to know how to maximize time and time block and make yourself be the most productive version of yourself? I am with it, because absolutely, let's push ourselves to that level of excellence. And at the same time, that still doesn't mean that we have to completely cut ourselves off from the other part of ourself that needs rest and doesn't want to feel guilty for needing rest. And it took me a really long time in my single mom season to really start to build in more rest, because since I was the sole provider, I would just work myself to an oblivion until I was on the brink of burnout. And then I would be like, okay, let me schedule some time off. Or I would just wait until the end of the year and take a little bit more time off during the holidays. But over time, going through that same cycle of just pushing myself and being on the brink of burnout so many times, I just got tired of that. It was beyond exhausting. And that's when I realized that I needed to build in more rest throughout the year and not just wait until I was burned out or on the brink of it. So, what aspects of yourself have you disconnected yourself from in this space of being high functioning? Because listen, I fully understand that sometimes we are high functioning purely out of necessity. This may not be what you signed up for. This may not be just because you decided to randomly be the high functioning queen. No, sometimes life and our roles and responsibilities, they require that of us. And we just do ourselves a disservice when we get so caught up in the things that must be done that we forget that we need to be included within that plan. And so I really just invite you to think about what sacrifices you've had to make in this space of high functioning, and where can you create some time and some space to also handle some of your softer needs in a space where you can be more vulnerable and open up about just how much this season is actually costing you. What I found really interesting is I would never expect anyone else to ever do that. If I had a best friend who was a single mom or going through a season in her life where everything really fell on her, I would never ever want her to feel isolated or to feel like she was being a burden for expressing what she was going through and how she was getting through. I would never want anyone to feel like they were on their own. And yet I did it to myself constantly. I created this sense of isolation where there were very, very few people that I ever really opened up to about just what I was struggling with. And often it tended to be other single moms who really understood what it really took to be a single parent. But looking back at that time, I wish that I would have had more support. And that would have been something that I would have had to create by being willing to open up and be vulnerable with more people in my life. And I think that sometimes we forget that we need that connection and support. And we often forget that we have the ability to create that. Does it come with some risk? Yes, because it means that you may be open and vulnerable with someone who isn't able to meet you there. Maybe they don't understand what season of life that you're in and just how taxing it is on you. Or maybe they are just going through their own things and they just don't have the capacity to support you in the way that you need. Or maybe they are dealing with something else totally entirely, or they just don't react or respond in a way that you find supportive or helpful. So, yes, there is a risk. And of course, definitely use discernment, but also don't cheat yourself of an opportunity to connect and build the community that you need. So, yes, you can be high functioning. Just remember That's not all that you are meant to do. That is not the only mode that you are allowed to have. You are allowed to be tired, to be frustrated, to feel the weight of what you're carrying. You can honor the struggle. So, let me give you a few steps to help support you in that softer space of your life. First, grant yourself permission. It is okay to not be on 24/7. It is okay to have a sacred space where you can let your guard down, where you can set aside everything that you're carrying for just, even if it's only a little while. Grant yourself permission to be able to do that. You do not have to be high functioning 24/7. You can absolutely carve out some moments in your day or in your life where you can have even just 10 minutes to just have free space. So grant yourself permission to also welcome in your soft side and even just being vulnerable within you, because sometimes that within itself is a gift. So grant yourself permission to be something other than high functioning. And then be honest with yourself. Tell yourself what you need and make it a point to give that to yourself. If it's a massage once a month, then carve out that hour and a half or 2 hours a month. And it gives you something to look forward to. And you know that there is some relaxation, some rejuvenation built into your schedule. If all that you have is an hour or two once a month, it's better than not carving out any time and running yourself ragged for years like I did. So allow yourself the freedom to be honest enough with yourself about what it is that you need right now in this season to support you. And then make it a point to get it on the calendar. The sooner, the better. And this one's a little bit harder than the other two, but I'm your coach, so I'm gonna stretch you a little bit here. Let yourself be seen and known. Yes, I am challenging you to open up with someone, whether it is a family member, a friend, someone in your life that you can confide in, someone that you feel safe enough with to allow them to see that soft side of you. It's not just a side that you should explore for yourself, but something that you should also share. So, who is that special someone in your life that you feel comfortable enough to share these softer parts of yourself, that vulnerable side that not a lot of people get to see? Maybe it's a best friend, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it is someone that you have known since elementary school and that's just your ride or die. Or maybe you join a community, because nowadays there's so many communities, whether you find something in your neighborhood or through a hobby that you enjoy, volunteering, or even a community group online. So I really just invite you to create the level of support that you need. And nowadays, there's really not many excuses why we do not have the support that we have. Yes, do we run a risk of opening ourselves up? But everything is a lesson. And it's either going to help you get clarity on the type of support that you need from the people in your life, or it can be your greatest blessing to grant you some of the most beautiful relationships and connections that you may not have otherwise ever had. if you had not been willing to open up and really connect with someone. Connection is so important in our lives. And we can have so much deeper, more meaningful connections in our life when we are willing to go deeper within them. So it's not always about having this huge quantity of friends or relationships in your life, but the quality of those relationships and connections can make a world of difference. So I really invite you to explore this. Give these steps a try, okay? I can't wait to hear how this works for you. So let me give you a journal prompt, friend. Where have you been letting the high functioning version of yourself cover up what you actually need? And what is one soft truth about yourself that you have not let anyone, including yourself, fully see yet? Ooh, friend. Yes, we going deep with that journal prompt, okay? And let me fill you in on what to tell me in the comments. Tell me, what need has high functioning been covering up for you? And what's your next right aligned step? Because, friend, we are all about implementing, taking some action, and putting things into play. Okay? Because, listen, you deserve to have the level of connection and support that you really want to have in your life. And whether you are in a season of high functioning or a season that requires so much of you right now, you do not have to go through it alone. So I can't wait to hear what you got to say in the comments, friend. I can't wait to support you there. Well, I hope that you have loved this video just as much as I have loved making it for you. And as I remind you at this time, I love myself so much, I don't play about me. And if you hang out with me long enough, you will love yourself so much that you won't play about you either. Okay, friend? I will see you in the comments and I'll meet you in the next video tomorrow.